about 20 minutes ago. But yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to say hi. I haven't done a live stream for a little bit, so I figured I'd do one, especially with how the past few days have been. Has been kind of good. Although today was just annoying, but it is what it is. Welcome to Ford Cooling Systems, or just cooling systems in general. They're the bane of my existence. Like the thing is, it's not hard. It's not hard. But the thing is, the first time I did anything with a cooling system was actually on my '81 Mustang, right? And unfortunately, I made an oopsie with that. So I was replacing the thermostat housing on Stitch when I first got her. Well, actually, I wasn't replacing the thermostat housing. Actually, I was replacing the thermostat. But the problem is, it's cast aluminum. They all were from the factory, and I cracked it. Right. So I just like, oh man. So, and I didn't realize I cracked it though, because then after I buttoned everything up, I drove it around the block, and then it was worse because I was overheating the car. It wasn't fully overheating to where it does that noise that, like, I always thought as a kid, I always thought that was a fake noise, but no, it's actually real. Like when cars overheat, they make that noise. Like on TV and stuff like that, right? But yeah, so did that and then replaced the thermostat housing and it was all good. But then afterwards, that made the water pump go, so I had to replace the water pump at the same time, and it was a mess. But now on Lilo, because getting her back, there's a couple of things that I have noticed working on the car again. Which, bear in mind, when I owned Lilo the first time, I didn't actually do any work to her whatsoever other than just oil changes. I think I gave it 2 or 3 oil changes in my tenure, and that's it. Oh, that didn't work out. Whatever. But yeah. Anyway, so I did that, and that was back in 2019 when I owned that. Like when I was doing that to the car, I was very green with working on cars at the time. Now I'm quite a bit more experienced, but still don't have that much experience considering, right? Like, there's people that have been doing this for decades and whatever else like that. But there are some people that do this for decades that don't actually know as much as they claim. So beware of that at times too, because there are people that'll claim stuff that is not true, right? But anyways, usually when people are providing you advice though, it's not too bad. Um, but I do want to say though, leading into the next story here of working on Lilo today. So Lilo is a 1986 Ford Mustang LX convertible, which if you don't know, I recently got back. The story on that car goes as follows. So that car was actually my friend's car, and he didn't really drive it, to be honest. He barely drove this thing. He had it for like 5 years and put maybe 5,000 kilometers on it in that time, right? Hardly anything. And then I get into it, and I drive the hell out of this car. I drove it all through the winter, and it was fun. And you know what? It was really fun on the warmer days too, having the top down while there's snow outside. It was great. Um, but yeah, so I owned that car for 6, 7 months, something like that, and then I ended up selling it to a guy named Dean, actually in Calgary. Now, and the only reason why I sold it was because of the motor issues. I could have potentially fixed the motor myself for basically nothing, like price of gaskets, but I didn't end up doing that. I just ended up selling it off because I had another motor. The only problem was with this other 3.8 that I had, I wasn't too sure if it would work properly with swapping the internals because I wasn't sure if the insides of this new motor were bored out or anything like that. So I didn't end up doing that, right? So okay, go forward from there. I sell it to Dean, right? And what's funny is, oh hey Sunfish, how's it going? Definitely appreciate you coming on the live stream. Um, but what's funny because when I sold it to Dean, I sold it for $2,800 at the time, and that was last year. Around Was that April? I think it was April last year. So I actually delivered it for the $2,800. So I think he actually got a pretty good deal considering I delivered it, because that tow bill probably would have been about $400 for him if he was to do that, or having to pick it up, come back. It's about $120 in gas for a truck, because you're towing a trailer and a car, right? But anyways, so what's really funny though is the last time I drove that car, because I picked it up, right, and then talked to him for, I would BS for probably 20, 30 minutes, talking about the car a little bit, what he did for some stuff. Keith was asking more of those questions. I was just I was blinded by the fact that I get to buy my car back, right? Um, but yeah, so delivering it to his shop, I am no joke, because like going down the highway, the uh, the oil pressure's doing this. And it was doing that constantly down the highway. And you could tell when it was doing that because it would knock every single time it dropped, right? And dropped and dropped. And I get into Calgary, right, with it doing this. I'm 600 meters from a shop. It is knocking bad and like shaking the car. And I'm like, ooh, this thing's on its last legs. And I wasn't sure if it was going to make it at this point. But lo and behold, it made it. And what was really funny about that was after we drove it, me and Dean, we BS for about 20 minutes or so. And then he jumps in it, fires it up. It's not knocking. He drives it into the shop. No big deal. Super funny. Now, a week later, he goes to jump in it, start it, to move it. Motor seized. So I seized the motor the last time I drove it. I'm just assuming that when everything finally cooled down, that it just seized up completely. But to answer Sunfish's question, I don't know, to be honest. Like, I would like a Mercury Cougar, especially a first gen Cougar, or even a second gen Cougar would be cool too. But I don't know. We'll see if I ever get one or not. Um, right now I'm content with my Mustangs and then the Civic, which is technically not mine, but I'll get to drive it, and I'll probably end up being my car in the future. So plus I might get a truck too. A friend of mine offered me a truck, and we'll see if that turns out to be anything or not. Because really good friend of mine, to be honest. Um, it's an old '80s Ford with a 460 in it. It's like a pig on gas, but it's a truck. They definitely are. I love how they use the Thunderbird taillights and everything, and they were just a gorgeous car. And I think that the first gen Cougar looked better than the Mustang did, excluding like 1969. And the Cougar in 1970, I think, was actually kind of ugly. They did this kind of like pig nose design on the front, and it's just, ugh, not for me. But still, yeah. Like, and I don't really know much on this truck. It's a beater truck and whatever else. And like I told him, like I kind of brushed it off a little bit, but we'll talk more when I go up there in a couple of weeks. Because I am planning on it since the Civic is at its property. But yeah, want to share it? This? Oh wait, so you're talking? Well, they did a couple generations like that, so you'll have to be more specific of like what year range for that, because in 1972 they were similar to the Thunderbird, or 1971 they were similar to the Thunderbird, and then all through the 70s and through the 80s as well they kind of were. So yeah. Not sure which one you're talking about, because again, they share that same platform, because I believe the Cougar was on the MN12 platform in the end too, before they went to the front wheel drive Cougar in like 1998, I think it was, something like that. Which that's the Cougar that you like never see anymore. Early 90s. Okay, so that's the one with like they have a weird roof line on them. They don't look bad, but they got this weird roof line to where they're kind of like really swoopy, but then it just immediately goes just straight up and down. It's just like, and you could tell that is such an aerodynamic grab by doing that instead of doing a nice, curve thing and have a curved back window. Just having this, and it was a curved back window, but it was curved weirdly. right? And it was more straight up and down with the roof, and it was a weird design. Not bad looking, but weird for the time. And yeah, that's what I can say about that, to be honest. And also, you could get the in the XR7s actually. You could get the 5 liter. You can get the 4.6 later on, depending on what year, and you could also get the 3.8 supercharged. So that's pretty cool. You had a bunch of different options for engines in those. You could also get them in a manual if you wanted to. Although you had to order them as a manual, I believe. I don't think they just came straight from the factory without ordering it that way. So yeah, I could be wrong on that though, but I think so, because I have seen Cougars that are manual that aren't first gens. I think second gen Cougar and third gen Cougars are automatic only, because I kind of morphed into more of this luxury car at that point, compared to instead of being a luxury pony car, it was just a luxury car. So yeah. But yeah, because then I don't think, did they ever put the 2.3? I don't think they ever put the 2.3 in the Cougar. I think it was V6 V8 only. So yeah. Yeah, let me just get some water here. But yeah. So if anybody here has missed my previous videos, because since my last live, I guess, I of course got Lilo back. I did some brake work on the Civic. I cleaned out the fuel tank in the Civic. And I've started work on Lilo again. So yeah, and I think my dad's home. Kind of didn't know when he was going to be home, to be honest, because he was playing pool tonight. So it's fine. Which means I might have to stop this live stream at some point soon. But okay, you saw that video. Okay. Yeah, which is technically not the most recent video, because the other video of part 2 of the brakes I did yesterday. So and the Mustang video came out the day before, which that Mustang video is doing really well. It's over 1,100 views, and it's getting views, like more and more views every day. But it's not getting as much from external sources now. It's getting more internal from like people getting recommended it, and that sort of thing, right? And subscriber base and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And having that car back is just so nice. Even though I haven't really driven it much yet, because again, that water pump, I have a water pump for it. I picked it up today, but just trying to do snafus with trying to get it out. One of the bolts for the fan actually would not come out, so I'll have to put a pry bar actually on it and do that. So I'm not used to because Stitch doesn't have a clutch driven fan. It just has a fan. That's it. Nothing fancy about it. And it still has the original plastic fan, which I might go to a metal fan in the future on it, or go electric in general. We'll see. Yeah, that's my at home. And yeah, like honestly, really good car though. I always loved that car. I never wanted to sell her in the first place, but that money went to a lot of good, to be honest. It was able to get me to other shows and to all throughout the summer. To pay for basically what I wanted with the car. Not a ton, but like the 4.6 Triton is weird because they call it a Triton, but I'm pretty sure it's just a modular engine that they just put Triton on because it is in the truck instead of the not. So I don't know for sure though. See, that I don't know. I believe they're the same, but they might actually be different. So don't quote me on that. Because yeah, it's one of those deals where I'm not as familiar with modern engines. For me, I know more about the classic stuff. Um, and all that. Ooh.
Baby shark, baby.
Awesome.
That's what I found at the gas station.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm doing a live stream right now.
I figured.
Yeah. This is one of those pillows.
Yeah.
Sweet. I got a shark pillow. Shark pillow. I have another one that's cat. That's awesome. And some chips.
Mm-hmm.
And pop. That's great. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, my dad's gotten really good at the crane game. There, so basically, I swear to God, every time he plays it, he wins something.
Just about, except that's the first one this year.
Oh, there you go. Well, you've only been there twice.
I've been there 3 or 4 times.
Has it really been there? Really?
Oh yeah, I've been there a few times.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's funny because that's the woman who's been loading it has been kind of shoving things down so you can't get them.
Oh, rude.
Yeah, so that was sitting on top. I was like, well, that's easy. Just knock it over. Great.
Yeah, so it's a pillow pet. It's awesome. And that's why he was singing Baby Shark. It's pretty awesome because yeah, he's gotten really good at the crane game there at the where he goes bowling and Olds. Yeah, I don't know if I know anybody that really liked it. Although what's really funny though is, and my dad laughs at it every single time he watches that Roadkill episode. It's where they on Roadkill they fix up the they call it the U-body Roadrunner, right? They fix it up and take it on the track and everything. And in the end credits, he's singing the song and doing the actions. David Freiberger, it's hilarious, honestly. But yeah, I freaking love those two. I would love to do videos with those guys. It'd be freaking hilarious. Like I'd be laughing my ass off the entire time, I'm sure. So, but will that happen? I doubt it. Although I do know somebody that actually knows them, so has met them, and has met them more than once. And oddly enough, I think on an episode of Roadkill coming up, that there might be showing a race actually between my friend and Steve Dulcich. So that'd be cool to see. Because she actually won that race. So yeah. So we'll see if that happens or not. Oh my god, it even has a mouth. It's hilarious. That's too funny. I like it. Yeah, so now I got a shark. I gotta have fun with the little things. Hey, fat cat. Yeah, Roadkill is amazing. Like, I was so tempted in my Civic brake video because I use a zip tie for something. It's only temporary. I'll actually put a proper cotter pin in that, or find a thinner zip tie that'll fit. Because realistically, you don't need any force to keep that pin in whatsoever. But cotter pin is more permanent, so probably go with cotter pin. But anyways, on the brake booster, because you know that on brake boosters they have that it's usually an anodized metal that the brake rod will connect to, that pushes into the diaphragm of the brake booster, right? And it's held in by this little pin on the Honda. Anyways, it's held in by a little pin that goes through it, and then there's a cotter pin on the end, right? I had to cut the cotter pin. It just was not coming out straight, and I wasn't gonna reuse it anyways. But I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna put a zip tie in there, and realized, oh, the zip tie is too thick. Damn. But I wanted to say, and your zip tie moment, but it's just like, That's Roadkill's thing. I won't touch that, but it's just funny. Um, because they have the Roadkill zip tie moment. On Roadkill Garage, they actually have that a lot. So I've been watching a lot of Roadkill Garage because it's on TV, so it's kind of nice. Don't have to have the Motor Trend app. But yeah, no, it's. See, I don't know if I have any interest in going to Gas Monkey Garage, to be honest. Like, I enjoyed the show, but that's about it. Because everything that, like, about Richard and stuff like that, doesn't seem like he'd be a wonderful guy to be around. He just seems kind of like an ass. I could be wrong, though, but that's kind of the vibes he gives off all the time. And all the people that I really liked at Gas Monkey have left. So, like Aaron Kaufman and KC were like two of my favorites, but they're gone. And now the show is no more. Now there are some famous shops that I'd like to go to. Like the Guild in Ontario would be cool. And Phantom Works down in Massachusetts. I think they're in Massachusetts anyways. Would be really cool to go to as well. See, actually, my plan this year, and I want to do this so bad, and we'll probably end up, and we'll see if I'll be able to afford it properly, because here in Alberta, and it actually stretches into Saskatchewan, that we have our own version of Drag Week. And the thing is, with this, it's called Miles of Mayhem. And yeah, so basically it starts in, I think it starts in Medicine Hat. No, it might start in Rimbey, actually. Start in Rimbey, go down to Medicine Hat into Saskatchewan, back to Medicine Hat, and I think back up to Rimbey again. I could be wrong, but something like that. But there's like 5 tracks in 5 days. So, and you'll see the side of my dad's head in the shot, so, or and there's his face.
Exactly.
But yeah, and I want to really do that, and it'll actually happen in Lilo. More than anything. I mean, here's the thing. I wouldn't, like, if I do it, I will be putting in an aluminum rod in my car, and I will get a brand new cap, even though there's nothing wrong with my cap. It just, everything would be new, and all the hoses are brand new on that car, so, although, I didn't notice taking the hoses apart, or, like, removing said hoses from the car. Yeah, none of them were really that tight, so, yeah, kitten, you're in the way. So, but they're all brand new hoses. Like, there isn't a... I like that. Thank you. This is a really dirty glass, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I last drank out of it. Should've just got a new one.
I'm gonna change the TV on you.
That is fine. Just try to make it not too loud. That's all. Yeah, I'll hold it.
Actually, I might go to.
Oh, you wanna?
Let's see.
Okay. You knew it. Let's see where the controller is. Because the only thing is, I just don't want copyrighted music in the background. Which, actually, something I gotta do really quick. Need to go back to this. And...
Like that. You can't have these.
okay, that's fair.
No, we can make kittens or what?
Hello, Rashawn. How's it going? Definitely appreciate you coming to the live stream.
Who's mine?
Because I forgot, I haven't monetized this yet. So, and I can only do that from a computer. I can't do that off of a phone. with a live stream that is currently going. But I mean, that's really fair. Like, you know, if you've met him that way and whatever else, that's fine. Like, I'm not. And just for me, I am not. He's just not a shop that I'd want to go to. That's all. Crap, I need to go to YouTube Studio. Wow, we're at 5 people at 11:30 at night. That's pretty good, actually. I definitely appreciate all of you coming out. No, I want to actually do this. There we go. That makes it confusing. Live.
What are you doing?
Really quick and monetize. Save. A car that I've always wanted, but got away from me. Oddly enough, it could have been my first car. There's a couple of cars actually, but the one that still that's still like I can't believe that I wish I knew more information at the time, because there was I would have been probably 13 at the time, living in Lethbridge, and there was a guy giving away a Ford Maverick without an engine in it. And he was in Alex, Alberta. Now, had I known at the time, because I didn't realize that my uncle lived there, and he had a 351 to go drop in it, my first car could have been a Maverick with a 351 in it. But that didn't happen. So, unfortunately, you know, that's one of those cars, and that's one like that is just like so much that I wish I would have gotten that, because I love Mavericks. I can't remember if what year it was, to be honest, because again, this was a long time ago. That was like 12, 13 years ago for me. So, yeah. Oh, hey, no worries, Water. Water Doggy is your name, which is a great username. Yeah. What? Water Doggy's in the chat. It's a great name.
It's like a swamp dog.
There you go. But yeah, so that was one, and the other one was actually, well, it was his old. It's weird because how I have to point at people so it shows up on camera. His old truck. Now the thing is, I had an opportunity twice. I just never pulled the trigger, because the thing is, at the time we had to sell it. We could have kept it around a little bit, but once we move, we would have had to sell it, because I didn't have my license at the time, and we wouldn't have probably been able to tow it back here, to be honest. So, and that truck was an 81 D150 with a slant 6 727 and a 410 rear gear, and it was a gutless wonder. But that truck was really cool because it was an ex government service truck for, actually, it was the research station in Lethbridge. And that truck, you could tell what it was with any of these trucks, because we actually spotted in, I think it was Colehurst.
No, just outside Coaldale.
Oh, is that no? No, I thought it was Colehurst.
It's a truck. No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, there was a twin to his truck.
That.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, the twin was in Fort Macleod.
Fort Macleod, that's what it was. So, you know, I was right on the west of Lethbridge, but just wrong part. Anyways, so we found the twin to it, but the only difference is it was a Chevy, and it had the original tailgate on it, which was a really ugly, garish tailgate that my dad's didn't have. Because this tailgate was red with a bunch of arrows going sideways on it, and yet the truck is green on white. It was not a good style choice, but I mean, it was a service truck, so it didn't matter, right? And yeah. So when he first had it for sale, because it was actually my idea to sell it, to be honest. And just because at the time my dad didn't really have much for money, and that thing, he didn't really need it anymore. So I figured sell it because he had just bought a Saturn ST2, it was a 2001. Great car, honestly, but and that's another car that I technically could have bought too, but it was just not comfortable for me at all. My first car could have been a Saturn, and where would my channel be at that point? Have 100 subscribers? I would have had to do like an LS swap to a Saturn SC2 to make anything happen on my channel. Put like an LS4 in it, the front wheel drive LS. Yeah, no. So, but that car was just way too uncomfortable. That's one of the reasons why I didn't buy it. Plus, I just wanted to be different for my first car. So, yeah, it's one of those deals. Wait, your dream car got run over by an 18-wheeler and it was a 04 Evo? You have to expand on that. I didn't see that before. Yeah, Saber, this is not for you. I understand you love Doritos, but I can't give them to you.
Nope.
Not no more. You throw it up. Yeah, my dad's playing Call of Duty in the background. So.
Not very well.
Yeah. It happens. Oh. That was bad.
That guy. That Chino guy. Gotcha.
Wait, you got 2 cars? I mean, I've heard of cats loving Doritos. But Saber especially, like, he goes nuts for them. Although, the thing is, what both my cats go, like, extremely nuts for more than Doritos is actually ham. They love ham, like, so much. R60. And yeah. But yeah, I saw something about an Evo being crushed, and there was 2 cars that you got. I apologize that the chat. I clearly was not paying attention to seeing those. And your current car, you've decided to call it your dream car. Well, what is said car? Yeah, my dad's getting his butt kicked. It's
what I do.
yeah, okay, that's fair. Ooh, that sucks. Now, I do have a question though. Did so when that happened to your Evo, did the truck signal beforehand and you passed him and then went there, or did he just happen to turn there and ran you over? Because I'm always curious about that. If it was most time it's the user's fault of the car rather than the truck, but sometimes you see it as of the truck.
Apparently, that was the last death.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's no good thing.
I've never owned a yellow Honda, so I'm not sure. Come to think of it, I don't even think I've sold a yellow car. So what? Yellow? But hey, I definitely appreciate you coming out. Yeah, I mean, I figured you mentioned like you were talking about the Civic, but it's not yellow. There's nothing yellow in that Civic. It's blue. It's blue and rust. That's the colors of that. It's got tan seats, at least in the front. Back ones are still blue. But other than that, you got a cat that loves fire hot Cheetos.
Wow.
Interesting. It's an interesting cat. But yeah, I mean, and I'm always because most of my content actually, like lately, it's been a lot of Civic stuff, but that's been put on hold. Civic stuff because, well, the Civic is now up in Edmonton. But I haven't gotten rid of we haven't gotten rid of the Civic, but the Civic is just up there because he has a shop and everything. And honestly, having a little bit of help with somebody that's more experienced, because my dad really is not very experienced at all when it comes to cars that way. Like he does have some experience, but rebuilding a car, yeah. Although he can build a bitchin' firewall out of beer cans because he did it once. So
Yeah.
because he had a what year was your Civic? That you did that to?
No, that was
Oh, that was your Subaru.
that was a '78 Subaru.
Yeah, my dad had a '78 Subaru that the rust was so bad on the firewall that he rebuilt it out of beer cans. It's hilarious. I've seen one picture of this thing in the background of a shot. And oh my god, the thing was just horrible. And like driving down the highway, now I wouldn't do like giant rooster tails or anything, but the tops of the fenders were rusty too. Like there was rust holes on the tops of the fenders, so it would actually create rooster tails if it was raining outside. Like it's just freaking hilarious. And the shit that you can get away with back then compared to now. Because, yeah, that would not fly today. But, this was the 80s.
No, it was actually the '90s.
That was 90s? Okay, well, still, it was the 90s. You know? Airbags weren't mandatory yet. Until 96.
I think airbags ain't been invented yet.
Airbags were invented back in the 80s, so. And you're... See, now that's cool. It's 71 240Z. And keeping it original. Nice. See, there's so many people that will modify that, and it's just, it's horrible. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't blame people for modifying them, but why? You know? Other than, like, stuff that you can get rid of. You know? Like, they'll put wide bodies on them, which, you know, by drilling holes in the fenders, and that's just not... That's not something I do to 240. I do that to a 280, though, because they're so common. But, you do that to a 280, but then like and stuff with the motor, you know, if they do modifications, they'll like bore it out and stuff like that, and stroke it, and then they'll also get into the whole thing of just doing so many modifications that are really hard to undo, right? And you mentioned what your olds was. So you have a 85 Cutlass Sierra Brougham Coupe with the LE2 V6. So is that the front-wheel drive Cutlass, or is that the rear-wheel drive Cutlass, though? Because they made both the G-body Cutlass and the front-wheel drive Cutlass at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you should. You know, that's cool. And yeah, like, there are some 240s that have gone just through the roof. It's the front wheel drive. Okay, that's what I thought. Because when I saw Cutlass Sierra, that's what made me think of that. So yeah, I mean they're pretty good cars. So the V6, is that a 3.8 V6 or is it another V6? See, the only... Now, depending on which GTR engine, like, for me, if I was going to completely modify something like that, I'd want to keep it like a period correct motor. So if you found an old GTR motor like from the 70s, that would be kind of cool. It was very similar to the 240 engine, except for I think it was just bigger and it made a little more power. So you sold the AM radio from your 240 for $2,500 on eBay?
Jesus.
Wow. I mean, although saying that, like that surprises me, but at the same time saying that, there was a in one of the first gen Civic groups, there was a guy showing off his engine. It was a 1200 first gen Civic. And what was really cool about it was a valve cover on it because it was all like this thing was pretty much restored. And there's this Mugen valve cover on it. I'm like, ooh, that's gotta be rare and expensive, I'm sure. But that valve cover was $4,000 US. And it's just like, what? Like for a valve cover? I get it's rare, but damn. And oh, it was an auto-seeking AM radio. Interesting. I didn't even know they did that. So that's kind of cool. How the Japanese are always doing that fancy stuff like that. And it's interesting, like, seeing of what Japan thought of compared to what the American cars were. It wasn't gold, it was black. Ah, okay, the 2.8. Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I was gonna buy a Blazer with a 2.8, or a Jimmy actually with a 2.8, but that didn't happen. I was an S15. See, I have a sneaking suspicion that they're not gonna get $6,500 out of that same radio though on eBay. There's no way. Because people will already look and just like, hey, look, this one sold for $2,500. That's what we'll offer you, right? Yeah, 70s bourbons. Yeah, they're not really around. And actually, I didn't know that the Cutlass Sierra was released in Canada first in '85. I didn't know that. So that's kind of cool. Like they're not. They're a neat car. Like they're a neat car. They're just not a car that goes like, I absolutely love that car, right? But you find a clean one, and it's kind of like one of those underappreciated survivor type ideas, right? But yeah, and to be honest, what I know about the 2.8s, like they're not a bad engine, but they're not the greatest engine either. They have like that can have oil starvation issues. Which was common for GM V6s other than the 3.8, which that 3.8 Buick motor is like the best motor of all time. Hey, I would absolutely buy a 65 Galaxy 2-door in a heartbeat if I had the money, but like I already bought my car. I'm broke right now. Plus, I even if I didn't have Lilo, I don't think I have the room for a 65 Galaxy. It's a big car. Which, fun fact, actually, my dad's first car was a 70 Galaxy. Now, it was a 4-door. And a 351.
Yeah.
And then he drove it for a while, and the tranny went on it. And then sold it for scrap, I think.
Eventually. It sat at Grandma and Papa's for a few years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, a 3.8 swap would be really cool in that Cutlass, but yeah, I'm sure it requires quite a bit of custom fab to do that. Compared to the 2.8, because they're totally different blocks. Like, they share nothing in common other than, I think, accessories. 60, no, Andy. I can tell you right now, a Mustang was way bigger than way smaller than a Galaxy. Because like, the thing is, the Mustang was on their compact platform of the Falcon. The Galaxy was a full size car. So, the Mustang at the time was, I think, about 15 feet long. that galaxy is probably 17, 18 feet long, depending. I know the later they got, the bigger they got. But yeah, no, because like a Fairlane would be close to the size, but even then, that's still a midsize car, right? Mustang was always a compact car until the S197 came out, basically. So, well, see, now I gotta. Okay, good. This one's not dead. See, now you have me curious. What's the length of a 65 Galaxy two-door? 65 Galaxy two-door dimensions. There we go. Yeah, it's 210 inches long. That's a big freaking car. Which 210 inches to feet. Yeah, that's 17'6", which is about a foot longer than my dad's Magnum. So that's a big car. That might be a smaller Galaxy compared to other Galaxies, but that's a big car. So yeah, no. And a Mustang, like my Mustang is 14'6". Put it that way. Hey, no worries, Water Doggy. I definitely appreciate you coming out to the live stream, and I absolutely love your name. That's awesome. Good luck with your cutlass. I mean, I love a full-size body-on-frame car. You know what? They're so comfortable, and you can make them into a hot rod if you want to. I want to do that so bad, like find an old like caddy with a 500 in it and build it to just be this monster. But we'll see if I ever do that or not. Thanks, you as well. Chat to you later. Wait, you have a Termi Mustang? Like, is that's yeah, 01 SVT, that's the Terminator, isn't it? Like, that's a really cool car. And I know that's my friend's dream car. Like, he wants one so bad. He would sell his 2020 in a heartbeat. See, I would love a Lightning too, but actually, I would love a first-gen Lightning. And most people don't realize they had two different well, now 3 different generations, technically, of Lightning. Because with the new electric one, right? But yeah, so the first gen Lightning though, which came out in the 90s, just had a 351. They were all red, and yeah, or at least anytime I've seen them, they've been red, but they may have been other colors too. And yeah, they weren't like they weren't anything that special at the time though. Because it was essentially just a short box truck with a 351, which was cool, but you could have ordered one like that if you wanted to. Then Ford decided to just make one. So, yeah. But it was cool though. Still a cool truck, and like, there was one point where I was offered one, like a second gen Lightning, but it was not original. It had a 351 in it. It was swapped with a manual because they came with automatics, and it was only like $2,000. I'm like, I wanted it, but it just never came about as anything. So it's fine. And like in the 65 through 67 Galaxies were basically the same car. They just changed the front end a little bit and changed some trim and whatnot. But and I don't really follow Cletus McFarlane's content very much. I catch the odd thing here and there, but I couldn't tell you for sure. But I'd love a Galaxy. But also, like, actually, one other car that got away, like, this wasn't a hey, I actually had the opportunity to own it really. it was interesting because I was 16 at the time, I believe. And the thing is, I was I was drawn to win a what was that? That was a 1968 Ford Fairlane Torino. It was red and it was a fastback. Beautiful car, honestly. It needed some work, but they always gave away projects. This radio station. And this car, I got drawn in to win it. Now, what was funny though is there was me and one other girl actually that got picked to win it, but they didn't say that we had to be 18 to enter. So we had our parents go as proxy for us because it was, the draw was at a bar, so we couldn't go to the bar. But yeah, and they continue to do that draw every year for a classic car. And then last year they did it for like a trailer, and like, it was just a camper trailer. Because yeah, like if it was an actual trailer, I would have asked people to do that every week for me. Let's see, and yours has the 352, which the 352, I'm trying to remember. Was that the end of the Y block motors, or was it something different? I can't remember for sure. Because I see 352s, but they always confuse me when I see them. If you're putting a link in the chat, it won't work because you're not a moderator. And I don't allow for non-moderators to put links in the chat. Right, that's what it was. FE, yes. I knew that, it's just I couldn't remember. A 76 F100 Ranger with a 351 in Cleveland. Now that's cool. I've always loved the Cleveland blocks. I don't know. I think it's just their overall size and stuff. Because they're a much bigger motor and they're kind of cool that way. Even though they share the same cubic inch. That was the care package you hacked. Yep. Yeah, well, the thing is, they are taller and have bigger heads, though. Because I know, like, to swap a 351 Cleveland into a Fox body, you need to clearance the hood. I was in talks with actually buying one off a guy, but I just never did. There was a guy with a Fox body convertible, I think it was an 83 or 84. It was white. And he put a 351 Cleveland in it. Which is cool. And he had this thing for sale forever. It's probably still for sale to this day, to be honest. And it had a brand new interior ready to be installed, but just never was put in the car. And the guy wanted like $6,000 for it, which is just too much money. It just is. Put it together and you might get that. But then also it had some rust issues and whatever else. Like, my car, with the upgraded 302 that it has, yeah, when it's on the road and everything, it's probably worth $5,000. But I don't know, a Cleveland in a Fox body, it's just not as desirable to people, right? Because most people don't even realize, like, car people know about it, but if you're on the outside space looking in, like, and if you're not a super Ford person, you probably don't know much about the Cleveland at all. Which, I don't know a ton about them, I know a little bit. But again, obviously you've noticed that Clevelands aren't my 100% thing. Although I do know, which is kind of cool, about the Clevelands, is Ford Australia decided to have some fun with the Cleveland. And they made a 302 Cleveland. Instead of the 351. And basically it's just a D-stroke 351 Cleveland. So it's kind of neat. And they had some other oddities with that engine too, but I don't know them all. But yeah, it's just very cool, right? And again, Australia only. But also some of all the really cool stuff. You know, like you can get a Hemi Slant 6, for example. Which, and I'm not sure if this is confirmed or not, but I swear I've seen it. Because I think they offered I think they offered a 225 slant 6 that was a Hemi head on it, and that was like a tri-power, so like a 6-pack. Now, it's potentially that intake was an aftermarket thing, but still, it's pretty cool to have 6-pack Hemi on a slant 6. Plus, you know, Ford has the god of all, the god of all inline sixes ever from any of the domestic brands, which is the 4-liter Barra inline six. Now, these engines, they can be compared to 2JZs, actually, very much so. You get the right one, and like you get a turbo motor. Oh yeah, you can boost it to like 800 horsepower on stock and turtles. It's pretty amazing. Well, see, and that's why you need to build out your C6 like a lot, so that your truck won't eat it. Unless you just decide, you know what, put a nice old top loader in it. Hey, and there's Teen Mechanic. Actually, somebody in here was asking about 4.6 Tritons. Now, Teen Mechanic might be the person to ask about that. Is if the 4.6 Triton is different than a Vicky. Hey, no worries. I understand. Got you got the classes the next day, so. But yeah, because like to my knowledge, the 4.6 was just essentially you know, the 4.6 Triton was the modular, but they just called it a different name because it wasn't a truck. Oh. I can show the cat. Yeah, okay. Just minor differences with it, because like the guy, I can't remember who it was in the chat. It was a while ago. Was asking if he could swap one out of a Vicky into his truck. Yeah, hang on. I can show off the kitty, even though he's sleeping and doesn't want to be disturbed. There you go. Here's kitty. You can see how tired he is, eh? What? Aluminum or steel? I want to say they're all iron block, are they not? Did they make an aluminum block? No worries, Cold War. Because I think, yeah, weren't all 4.6s iron blocks? The 4-liter, I can tell you right now, the 4-liter 6 has a different bolt pattern. I'm pretty sure. I'm actually, wait, no, that might have the same. No, Scratch that. I don't really know. Because I don't like the... Because I'm thinking of the front-wheel drive Fords, and the modular engines had different bolt patterns compared to the Windsor blocks. But yeah. Oh, they really are. They're aluminum blocks. Okay. Why did I think they were cast iron?
Fuck. Are you kidding me?
If you jump and press square, you should be able to reach that. Yeah, you gotta time it just right. Do you want me to try and do it? Oh, you had it. Yeah, you have to hold it down. There you go.
There's only about 13 fucking bullets left. I need somebody to die. Everybody. Me again.
Ah, okay. See, I don't know much on the 4.6s, to be honest. Like, I just know that they are a really stout engine, and all the trannies that they bolted to it were very good as well. So that's about all I know. Their manuals weren't quite as good as the T5, but was still a very good transmission. So, and their automatics, the 4R70W, I think it was a fantastic automatic as well. But that's about my extent of knowledge with the 4.6. Because I've had really no experience with them, and I've never looked into it.
Really? This is all I get?
Better than nothing.
Not much.
I mean, replacing it is probably, as stupid as it is, replacing it is probably cheaper than actually fixing the head gaskets.
There.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it yourself, then yeah, it's going to be cheaper. Well, I mean, what would a shop charge for that? Like, I'm assuming a shop's going to probably charge 2 or 3 hours of labor on that. Mind you, yeah, a motor shop's probably going to cost you about $2,000 in a shop, so there's that. I never consider that, because I know that, yeah, you know, rednecks with an engine hoist can swap a motor in like 2 hours, 3 hours, but a little different than a professional shop where they take their time. So, yeah.
Oh, that's why. An angry person. Baby, baby.
But the F-150 got the 4-liter V6 too? I didn't know that. I thought that they only got the 5.4 and the 4.6, excluding diesels. Huh, learn something new. There you go. Because I thought the 4-liter was just for the Mustang and the Ranger. The last person on their team keeps killing themselves, so that nobody can get the kills.
I don't even know where they are. I can't find them. They've killed me enough times.
Yeah, well, I just see them make mistakes were made, because they just keep running off the cliff. But it's funny, actually. But yeah, because like the cooling system, actually, what was that? The 5.4 actually, it's not a terrible motor. The early 5.4s were, wasn't it the early 5.4s are the ones that had the spark plug issue, but they also had a 2-piece spark plug. So there's that. Right, Champion made them, terrible design. And yeah, but I think it was the later ones that are better. I mean, I could be wrong. Again, Team Mechanic is the one to ask because he's worked on Tritons, so 5.4s. Now you say he killed you enough times? You died once.
No, I died once. I killed them. The prior game. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I've heard of people snapping those ones though too. So it's kind of a compromise. Either have your spark plugs shoot out or have them snap. Oh, see, that'd be awesome, Sunfish. Like, I want to. Okay, mind you, I have grenaded an engine technically, but I didn't know how grenaded that motor until after. You know, until Friday actually when I picked up my car. So, but with any luck, I'll get the new water pump in tomorrow, and then I can drive the car. It still needs to be inspected, still needs to be insured, but you know, probably play it on it driving around town type idea. Which might happen. But then, like on Friday, because I'm gonna go to Calgary and pick up a couple parts for Lilo, actually. So that should be fun. Oof, yeah. But I still, I like. I would love to um, intentionally blow up a motor. It'd be fun. To swap the engine? Yeah, you're probably in that ballpark. Like, I know that when I was looking into it for my car, bear in mind though, they did have to. It's really easy to do on Fox bodies to swap an engine. To be honest, swap to a V8. The one shop that I was talking to, they were quoting me $2,000 to do it, and that's with swapping the K member too, because you had to. Although, unless you make your custom motor mounts, then you can mount it to the inline 6 K member. There you go, the one person you couldn't find last game.
Right? We were the only one left.
See, now I'm assuming miles, not kilometers on that. Or if it's 188,000 kilometers, that's really sad. That it blew head gaskets already and timing chain slap is bad. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I had no idea that an F-150 could come with 4-liter. That's cool. I learned a couple of things tonight. There you go. Yeah, but every once in a while, you know, the thing is, there are people that, like, every once in a while, an engine that, like I said, was legendary Could also just be a lemon too at times, but well, I'm sure that that engine was designed for a Ranger, and you put it in a truck that weighs 2,000 pounds more. I'm sure it's going to be a dog. Yeah, and if you're peeling out and driving it like that all the time, yeah, you'll blow up a motor pretty quick. It's even one of the best engines on the planet, an LS. You'll blow it up if you drive it like that constantly. So,
Oh fuck.
he's upstairs with an RPG.
Oh. Nothing to do anymore. I'm gonna die, motherfucker.
Yeah, 500k miles. That's gonna it's gonna be a really rural motor, so makes sense. Wait, actual miles, not kilometers. Huh. Yeah, that's a lot. That's like what, 640, 750, something like that. Somewhere in that range. Well, see, Lilo, when I get her on the road and everything, which will be nice. He's to your right, like, watch out for that. He's in the back.
Oh fuck.
Who's problem?
I know.
Let me look that up really quick.
Where are you now?
Well, okay, yeah, being in West Texas, yeah, you're probably not gonna find rust on your vehicles, to be honest. You live in an area where that's highly unlikely to happen, so. Let's see, 500, 0. Miles. Oh, sorry, that's 804,000 kilometers you that truck had on it.
Wow.
Yeah, with a four, like, it's funny because, well, T Mechanic was talking about it. Said he drove an F-150 with a 4-liter V6, and he found it to be gutless, but it had 500,000 miles, and it was from Georgia. That'll do it. What is amazing that that 4-liter lasted that long. Like, they're not a terrible engine, but they're not known to be that reliable though. Like, to that point, must have been taken care of pretty decent. But see, that's why people love Texas vehicles, and people love like California vehicles because, hey, look, no rust. Which, it's funny because rust can exist in California. People don't realize that, but hey, if you live in LA, guess what? You've got that salt air all over the place because, hey, guess what? You got the ocean right there. So, or anywhere that's close to the coastline like that, you can actually have rust. So you have to be careful of where you get a car from California too. They're usually okay, but it's still an issue, and people seem to forget that. But realistically, I don't think it'd probably still be better than an Alberta car, to be honest. Even though we have some of the better cars out there for rust when it comes to in Canada, because everywhere else in Canada gets way more snow than we do, or it's, and they use a ton more salt and stuff on the roads. So. Fair. Which, I mean, that still amazes me that thing was beat on as well and got that kind of mileage on it with a 4-liter. Just wow. That's neat though. And seeing those high mileage car vehicles that are highly that are not likely to reach that kind of mileage is cool to see actually. Like for the channel, At some point, I'd love to have a high mild hero on the channel and see how bad it is. You know, find something with like 800,000 kilometers on it and bring it in. You know, and do a video on it. But will I ever do that? Yeah. If it's cheap enough at the auction, I might. But oh, he's way in the back there.
Fuck that fucking guy. Fuck, he's annoying.
But nice.
Shoot me, you can shoot the other fucking guy.
Well, I'm sure if it was used as an actual truck, yeah, those leaves are gonna be like flat, and I bet the thing rides like absolute crap because those leaves have zero freaking spring in them. That's funny though. But yeah, I mean, and when I can, like when Lilo's actually on the road and everything and good to go and it's not going to overheat or anything, um, there will be a fun sort of celebration video come out. It'll probably be a little bit of sliding, and since the car can do burnouts, do a burnout. So, ooh, 2 days. Nice. Well, hey, I hope it goes well for you and everything, because I know my license test didn't go that well. I failed, I think it was 6 times before I finally got it. It's not that I'm a bad driver, it's just I'd get really nervous and make stupid mistakes, right? And then my first time getting my license, like trying to get my license, was a terrible drive. I was having a massive panic attack, and it was awful. That's all I'm going to say. I failed within the first 5 minutes of that, so. But, hopefully for you, it's not like that. It's a little more than that, but yeah. Because license tests were, each time, I think it was 120. So, yeah. But it happens. Hey, look, you get a new discount.
Alright.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's just one of those deals. You know, that it costs a lot of money, but you know, I paid it. Although he paid for the first one, and I paid for the other 5. So
Exactly.
yeah, and the first one I did in his Magnum, which actually, it's funny because he had a crack in the windshield, and they didn't like that, so he had to get a new windshield before the test. But then like a week after that test, we still had the tape on the window, the windshield, and it was actually the gasket was starting to like lift and come off. So we were going up to the Albers family reunion actually, um, up there, and we had to pull over to the side of the road and fix it. So, oh hey Jesse, how's it going? Definitely appreciate coming to the live stream. And hey, well, fingers crossed for you, Team Mechanic, because that'll be awesome. And then when you do, you know, one of these days you can come and visit out here. Although I do recommend when the snow is melted, you visit, because then you can film more cars out here. You're very welcome. And yeah, let me know how it goes, because yeah, I am hoping the best for you. Oh, trust me, I will do. You know, when it's fully melted out there, you can see everything. Although right now it's not too bad because it's been really warm lately. But there's still a bunch of snow out at Greg's. But you're usually aiming for around May to finally get out there and not have any snow whatsoever. Oh, I didn't know that, Jesse. Okay. I thought you had your license. I had no idea. But I guess that would make, like, I'm actually curious. How does the process work of getting your license when you use hand controls? That way. Because I'm assuming it's the same, but I don't know for sure, right? Or do you know for that? You get killed by one guy using it, so you go to it.
No, I was gonna do it after that anyways.
Oh.
I'm tired of these fucking guys.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. For a while, okay.
Fuck. I didn't have any bullets loaded. I had no shells.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I've never driven anything with hand controls, but I've only driven like, what, 7 vehicles maybe? Most of them have been his, so.
Yep.
Because I say, like, I drove Mom's GTP, I drove the minivan a little, I drove her Freightliner, I drove your Saturn, drove both your Magnums, drove the truck, both my cars,
Bullshit.
and 2 Mustangs. Also, a old Pontiac, which is on my channel actually, the one I drove that. Yeah, oh yeah, I could drive stick. Stick is fun. Like, actually, that video when I review, or not, it wasn't a review. I did that tour of that Cosworth Vega. He let me drive it afterwards, and I should have filmed that experience, but I didn't. And I was squawking the tires and bang shifting it, and oh, that was so much fun. Oh yeah, I learned to drive stick actually. It was on my dad's 99 Ram 1500, 318 5-speed. You know, that was fun. And yeah. But honestly, driving his Kazi, because Paul, I still know him actually. We're still gonna work on his car eventually. It's just he's had other things occupy his money. That's all. um, I've never had anything break on me when driving stick, but I've only driven 3 vehicles with a stick. One was just around the yard though. Well, no, technically 4 if you include the tow truck. So again, not too many. But yeah, I love sticks to be honest, and like Stitch will eventually be swapped to a stick. Lilo's probably gonna stay as an automatic because I want Lilo as a nice cruiser. You know, like doesn't mean that you can't have a nice cruiser with a manual, but there's something about just putting it in gear and just letting it drive, right? So, and it'll still be a pretty good mover too, because with that 302 in it, and because like the parts that I'm picking up on Friday in Calgary are an HCI distributor, from Summit actually, and the guy, it's used but not too bad. I'll make sure of its condition just by wiggling the thing and popping off the cap just to see how it looks inside. But other than that, well, there you go. I've never owned a stick shift because technically the Civic is my dad's. So, Yeah, there's that. Um, but you know, when that thing's on the road, because I really want to, and it might just be, you know, that me and dad, like me and my dad go up to there when I have the thing fully fixed up and everything, and I would love to road trip it back, but we'll see. Lilo only has a couple of minor issues. Really, like the water pump is leaking, so I have a new water pump to go in it. So that'll happen probably tomorrow. Like, finish doing that because I started it today. But cooling systems just give me. I don't know what it is. The cooling systems are the bane of my existence. Because every time I try and touch one, it takes way longer to do than it should. Every time. Like, most stuff I can complete fairly quickly. If it involves the cooling system besides the rad, take me hours. Like, that water pump should have only taken me maybe about an hour. I was working on it for like 3 or 4, and then I just like gave up because it was starting to get cold and losing daylight. That's a guy on the ground. Um, but really, other than that, for issues, I think that's the only issue with the car. It just has some things that need to be buttoned up, really. Because like, there's no proper PCV system, which I might just do a vented cap, and that might be okay. Because I got those really cool valve covers for it that I'm gonna put on the car. My dad is playing Call of Duty Black Ops, the one that came out in 2010. So, on the PS3. So yeah, watching him get his butt kicked a little bit, but that'll happen.
That's per usual.
Yeah. Although you had that one game the other night where you were doing as well as I was, and like, what have you done with my dad?
Figure what happened to you.
Hey, I was kicking ass too, so. You just managed to get very similar score to me. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, you know, that you're the blind squirrel that finds a nut.
Yes.
But yeah, like the road trip Civic video will be cool. Like, and I really want that to happen. You know, drive it home from Edmonton, see if it'll make it. It should, because to be honest, it's not the first time I've actually revived a car and then taken it on a long road trip. Because technically, I did that with Stitch. Because like the first time it was properly driven and not just around the block, we took it straight to Olds.
How the hell did we lose?
Oh, because he lost the lobby. Like, it changed the host, I think, and that's... Sadly, you don't get...
Jackasses.
Ah.
I want a nuke down.
But yeah, and then because, like, we took it out to Olds, because I needed to get the out-of-province inspection. To be honest, it was the only shop that I found that was actually proper doing their out-of-province inspections. Because the one shop that could do it here in town, well, they did it incorrectly, and the guy is an asshole. Completely. I don't like him at all. And, because also he lied to me too, so, not happy with that. But, yeah. So, took it out to Olds, took it to this place. They took about 2 hours to do the out of province, because they actually drive your car. So, there's that, which is actually kind of neat. They actually show you what's all wrong and everything. But on an out of province inspection, legally, they're supposed to show you what all they inspected. And they did. These guys did not, over here. So...
Blood.
Yeah, and then, because, like, but what, like, Lilo needs, which is not much, because I need to do a proper kickdown on it. I need to adjust the choke properly. And what else do I need to do on that? It's really not much. Oh, and the water pump. Other than that, it's pretty good. And hey, no worries. I definitely appreciate you coming out, and yeah, I'll do more live streams. I just haven't done as many lately, but you know, I've been. Did the PS3 freeze? Press the PS button, see if it's frozen. It's frozen. I've never seen it freeze. But hey, no worries. Have a fantastic sleep, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon. I don't know if it will unfreeze. It probably won't.
Probably won't.
And then the stupid part is when you press the PS button, it'll beep at you 3 times and say, "Hey, it was shut down incorrectly last time." It's because it froze.
I didn't shut it down. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll literally do that.
Last call.
Good night.
Last call. Hey, Rascal. Rascal.
I'm doing a live stream, otherwise I would.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I probably won't do this for too much longer here, to be honest. Because yeah, I want to see if I can get that freaking cooling system done, and then if I'm lucky, I can get it somehow inspected on Friday, to get it insured, and then take it to Calgary on my road trip. But probably not gonna happen that way. So I'm hoping that it'll happen that way because I know it'll pass an inspection as it sits right now. Because the only thing that's been done is that engine was put in it. Although he left a bunch of stuff about when it comes to that motor. But yeah, and it will be an adventure. It'll be fun, and like, cause we'd be picking up parts for that car, and then I might pick up something for a guy in Edmonton, cause he wants a front valance that's in Edmonton or that it's in Calgary. But he's not going down to Calgary anytime soon, and like, it's a valance that I want for my car, to be honest. But uh, um, yeah, because like in that car, it'll be such a fun car when it's on the road and everything. Because it was a fun car with a V6, but now with a V8, oh yes, and it's a roller motor, and it's got some upgrades to it. Like, and until I put it on the dyno, I don't know what power it actually makes. I know stock they had, I think it was 200 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds torque from the factory. It wasn't until later that they got to the 225. So that was like in 1990 or 91. So, but this one with the Edelbrock Performer intake and the Holly carb on it. Plus, I'm gonna put some headers on it, and it has dual exhaust. Yeah, that. Let's see now, and I'll beep at you 3 times.
I won't find that lobby again.
Well, you might. I mean, there's people missing from it.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay. Oh, turned off.
Yeah, well, that's what it does. But yeah, like, cause in that car, and I'll be, because there will also be when it's on the road too. I'm gonna do some performance tests and film it of told you.
Crazy.
It's not. You just remember when they were $500.
I remember when they were too expensive to run, yeah.
There wasn't a troll, that was a bot that posted there. So, you know, I get them every now and then. And you have to press OK again. It just needs to make sure that everything was okay after you shut it off like that. It's one of those deals. But yeah, I think I'll end this here though. You know, you're the only one left, and I'm running out of things to talk about. So I definitely appreciate you sticking to the end here, though, Jesse. Hope you have a wonderful time and good luck with all of your projects because you have a couple. And yeah, I will speak to you soon. Probably see you on a live stream on Saturday. So over on Novitiz's channel if you're there. So yeah, anyways, I will see you later. Bye. You too.